Hello there. Today we're going to talk about what I think are some of the better deals to buy and maybe some cards that you might consider selling when you look at both sets one and set two now that Shadows of the Galaxy is out. So let's dive right in with some of my legendary picks. Krite Dragon is the second most expensive legendary in set two right now. It's hovering right around $48. Uh, I think that's still in the buy category for me. Uh, when set one came out, we saw Vader and Boba go straight to 50, and after a little bit of play, we saw those decks win, and the prices shot up to up around 60 or even 100 for Vader. I suspect that there's going to be some Krite Dragons that are in some winning deck lists. And it's even more able to be, it's able to be more broadly used than things like Vader or Boba, because any deck that has red in it can use Krite Dragon. Not every deck wants to get to 9 resources, but it's a pretty nice insurance policy to have in your deck. If plans go south and you play a Krite Dragon, it's probably going to cost your opponent at least 3 damage to base to get rid of it, probably more. And it might just be game over if you drop it and your opponent doesn't have a way to get rid of it. So I think because it's so versatile and can go in basically any deck that has red, it's a card that you'll probably want to pick up. If we move to the right here, a lot of the blue villain cards have kind of stabilized in price. Even in set one, we saw Avenger get up to like $40, and Super Laser Blast was around 30. And those cards have come way, way down to about $20. Snoke is in the same ballpark. And I think it'll take a little while for blue villain decks to kind of become popular in the meta in set two. But I think all of these cards are still super useful. Avenger and Krite Dragon are fairly comparable from a game-ending standpoint. And so I don't think Krite Dragon should be quite at 50 with Avenger at 20. I think that has the potential to go back up again. In the same way, Luke is down to about $35. That really surprised me. I thought Luke was actually going to go up when set two came out, because I think some of his decks got a lot better. Luke yellow with Grogu is really quite good. Rose made any Luke leader deck better. And I think you still want Luke at 7 resources in most hero blue decks. With Rey, her introduction, it surprises me that Luke went down. So I think right now is a perfect time to pick up Luke's. If we look at some of the cheaper cards, DJ was at 15 and actually falling the last time that I checked. And I think he has some potential. There's going to be some combo decks that I think probably have some success early on. They may fall off a little later, but I think he's actually a pretty reasonable card, both with the tech combo and without, just as a 3/5 for 3. I mean, that's pretty good. Command is an interesting one. I was hoping that double green decks would get more tools in the set, and I think it kind of got the worst of all the tools in set two. But I still think that this card is gonna be really valuable at some point. Early on, all the double aspect cards were pretty cheap. They were all about $10, and we've seen Cunning and Vigilance spike up to around 40, and then back down. They've kind of stabilized at 30. Aggression is sitting right now at about 18, and Command's at 15. And I don't know when its time will come, but I think it's coming. Towards the end of the set one meta, there were actually some Palpatine green and Leia green decks that were performing quite well. And I don't think they won any giant tournaments, so maybe it didn't get quite as popular. But that is a really, really good card. So I think it'll be valuable someday. And then last but not least, I've got Evacuate. I think this one's actually down around 9 right now. And quite a few of these set 2 legendary cards are $10 or below. If you look at like Final Showdown and Endless Legions and Evacuate. And so if you're interested in any of those, it could be worth picking them up. But I think Evacuate's probably the most interesting one to me. Kind of like Krite Dragon, any yellow deck can play this. Doesn't mean they want to, but they can play this. And, it's kind of a reset, right? And so that's a very, very powerful card. It's not necessarily something that you want to plan to do, but I think there will be some decks that plan to use that, and they'll use it to pretty great effect. If we look at the rares, most of the set 2 rares that I have here, I think are more valuable than the price that's on them. I have no idea why Lon Pike is only 50 cents. He is amazing. At a 4/6 that can smuggle out for 4 normally, or smuggle out for 5, with an ability that can be quite useful. I think that 1 or 2 of him should go in most villain blue decks, even if you resource it to use it later on a turn where you're top decking and you're not drawing something great. First Light is kind of similar, right? At $1, it's pretty easy to pick up 3 First Lights, throw them in your villain blue decks, and resource them if you don't need them. But in that mid game, you play a First Light, do 4 damage to like a Ruthless Raider or something, and all of a sudden your Ruthless Raider is hitting for 8, and you've got a pretty scary board out. You see quite a few smuggle cards here, actually, right? So the Enterprising Lackeys, a 4-cost 5/5 in green that can smuggle out and basically can just stick around forever, right? So when it's defeated, you can make it a resource and then smuggle out again. That's not necessarily the main game plan that you want to have to use it as a smuggle card, but a 5/5 for 4 that sets up an overwhelming barrage that can hit for 7. If that double green deck ever hits, Enterprising Lackeys can be a pretty good card. If we go over to the $2 cards, I think Xanadu Blood is quite good. It's better in a deck with a lot of Underworld cards, but even as a 6/6, or an effective 6/6 with Raid 2, that can exhaust something like a Fire Spray. It can be good in a Cad Bane deck. It can be good in a Boba Fett deck. It can be good in a triple dark raid deck. So I suspect that it's going to be used pretty frequently, and I think it'll be good. Tech, I think there's an argument that Tech could go in every single deck, light side and dark side, because of his ability to turn every card in your resource row into a card that smuggles. He, kind of like Krite Dragon, is kind of just an insurance policy, right? So you throw 1 in your deck, you draw it in your opening hand, whatever, no big deal, right? You throw it in your resources. It's not like your deck is super inefficient because you have 1 card that you didn't necessarily want to see. So if your game plan goes according to plan and you win, great. But if not, all of a sudden when you're at 8, 9 resources and you are ready to give up, now you have a new plan, right? So your opponent thinks that they've got control of the game. Maybe you don't even have any cards in your hand. They take initiative. Well, you can smuggle out Tech, and then you can start smuggling out a bunch of other things. And if they can't kill Tech on their opening move the following turn, right, you can smuggle out something really big. And so I think that he's a pretty cool, insurance policy, certainly for light side decks. But honestly, paying the 2 extra to smuggle them out as a dark side card, it still gives you that follow-up move of, if your opponent can't deal with him, you can basically refresh your board. And so that's a pretty cool card. So because it's so versatile, I don't think it's just here for the DJ Tech combo. I think it'll go up. Bazine and Hot Shot Blaster, both about $4 right now. I think aside from Maul, they're probably the best rares in the set. Maybe Wrecker. Uh, they're just they don't really cost you a card, and they're surprising or disrupting your opponent. And I think they're really quite useful. So I think they'll go up. Miggs is an interesting one. He's a little more niche, so I guess I can understand him being around $1, but I think that he's an absolute must for a couple decks, mainly Kylo decks. And so because of that, if people are wanting to play Kylo, which I think it's probably good to play him because I think it'll be strong, and I think you want to understand, even if you don't want to play the deck, I think you want to know how to play against the deck. So I could see Miggs going up as well. If we switch over to what I would recommend to sell, there's far fewer cards. Right now, I think prices are basically generally pretty low. Set 1 prices are the lowest that we've seen in months. And so I really don't have many set 1 cards in my recommended sell list. These are 2 that I think are, they look really, really good. I suspect they're a little bit more niche than maybe we give them credit for. So the Dark Saber right now is going for about $40. It's cool. I suspect, that if it goes in some, great winning Sabine deck or, Bo-Katan deck, people will just start running more upgrade hate, and it will stop winning as much, and the value of the card will go down. It's certainly a pretty easy card to counter with your sideboard. If your opponent plays Darksaber for 4 and you play Confiscate for 1, that's not going to feel great for your opponent. They might even sideboard the Darksaber out of their deck in the next game. And then Kylo's Tie, it's good. Don't get me wrong. Certainly, if you have extra cash to spend, it's worth having around. But at $30 for a 3/2 ship, when there are other, cards that can deal with A-Wings, I don't know. I could see it once people figure out how to deal with the space aggro decks. I think it'll fall in price a little bit. On the rare side, I've got Maul, and it's not that I think Maul is bad, but I just kind of want to draw your attention to what happened to Red 3 and K2SO in set 1. Both of those cards started out kind of where Maul is. They got up to around $15, which is where Maul is today. And I think there's an argument to be made that both of those cards should basically be in every red heroism deck. And I don't think you can make that case for Maul, right? I think there are green villain decks where you don't play Maul because he's not quite as universally good as K2 and Red 3. He's good, but because of that, I'm guessing by the time set 3 comes out, he'll be where Red 3 is now at about $7. So, get 3 of them. But if you have, 7 or 8 Mauls, I wouldn't sit on them and wait. I would sell them now. The last cards I want to talk about today are special cards. Grogu is the event exclusive for right now, and it actually surprises me that he's fallen as much as he has. So, for set 1, the event exclusives were the Hyperspace Luke and Vader leaders, and they're still pretty pricey, and you can only use 1 of them, right? Grogu you could use 3 of in your deck, and so I actually kind of thought that Grogu would be more expensive than $12 at this point, but I was wrong, and so I think if you like your Grogu's having 3 fingers instead of 4, it could be worth picking up. Uh, it'll probably dip a little bit more, just because I think a lot of stores got Grogu, so I don't think it'll be hard to find. Uh, but I think Grogu is very good. I think he is extremely playable in Yellow Hero, uh, and so um, I could see some decks winning with him, and this card actually stabilizing or even going up a little bit. And then last but not least, Fantasy Flight has released uh, some information that they're selling this 6 pack of these alternate art uh, rares and legendaries, and you get 6 of them for $100. So you get Darth Vader, uh, Count Dooku, Emperor Palpatine, Kylo Ren, Darth Maul, and Asajj Ventress. I'm guessing that if this works well, they're going to do the same thing for heroes later on, right? Because it's all villains right now. So that just seems to make sense. So you get all 6 of them for $100. You have to go to a convention to get them. So there's 6 conventions that they're selling these things. And I could be wrong, but I'm guessing that if you buy them, you will be able to make a pretty impressive profit on them. They're limited number. They look beautiful. Vader by himself as a normal card goes for, $60 right now. So you could buy them and play with them. There would be nothing wrong with that. But I think if you buy them and you say, yeah, I need the money, I think you'll be able to sell them for a pretty hefty profit. So I would buy those if I was going to a convention. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope that is helpful and gives you an idea of what to buy and sell. And I'll probably do one more of these, maybe halfway through set 2, just to look back on, how we did, and to see if there's anything that's moved like crazy. So thanks for your time. Take care.